The entity does not lurk in obscurity. Understand this. It resides behind your own likeness, cloaked in your deepest longings. You believe you desire indulgence, dominion, or gratification. Yet, it is the force within you that yearns, employing your very hands to sustain itself. They do not subjugate you with brute force or potent enchantments. Their dominion is established through ease, and you offer gratitude for it. One individual perceived what others shunned. The conflict for your essence unfolds not in celestial or infernal realms, but within your circulatory system. Wayne Rowland did more than identify internal invaders. He exposed the malevolent spirits concealed behind them. The true confinement was forged by insatiable wants, not by physical restraints. You were conditioned to nourish your subjugator, proclaiming it liberty. Within every mortal form exists a hidden collective, microscopic life, invasive organisms, and fungal colonies, each vying for supremacy within the body's warm sanctuary. They do not coexist with you. They subsist through you. Their continued existence hinges on your capitulation. They manipulate hormonal secretions, seize control of your neural pathways, and transmute their hunger into your very thoughts. The yearning you identify as yours may not originate from you at all. It could be a directive transmitted from your digestive tract, delivered to your intellect as an absolute decree. Science labels this intricate communication chemical signaling. Ancient sages referred to it as spiritual subjugation. The terminology differs, but the narrative remains consistent. An unseen intellect draws sustenance from living beings. Yet even deeper, another truth resonates beneath the microscopic lens. For millennia, sacred texts have chronicled potent influences that attach themselves to human sentiment, beings that flourish on dread, carnal desire, and profound sorrow. The Gnostics named them archons. The hermits of the desert knew them as jinn. Contemporary thought labels them demons. These are not symbolic representations. They are mechanisms of extraction. They consume your focus with the same rapacity that parasites drain your blood. A different dimension, a shared hunger. And what if the most daunting realization lies here? The biological parasite serves merely as the terrestrial tether for that ethereal predator. Two manifestations of a singular consciousness operating through both material and spiritual planes. Contemplate this. A minuscule organism in your gut instigates your craving for sweetness. You comply. Your bloodstream surges with glucose. The parasite feasts. But beyond the physical exchange, an energetic current is generated, a resonance of frailty, dependence, and self-contempt. And from this frequency, something imperceptible claims its share. The parasite consumes the flesh. The demon consumes the despair. The system is flawless. You nourish the very entity that undoes you. And in sustaining it, you lose your sense of self. Remain with me, for once you grasp the profound extent of this infiltration, your perception of sustenance and contemplation will be forever altered. The struggle for your autonomy is not waged externally in governmental structures or religious doctrines. It is contested within your veins, at the neural junctions, and within your dreams. The question is no longer what you consume. The question is, what consumes you? Parasites are not invaders in the manner we typically envision. They are strategic architects of manipulation. Their perpetuation depends on their command over your internal chemistry. They exude neurotoxins that seize control of your emotions, whispering to your nervous system like unseen hypnotists. You believe you crave sugar, but it is the parasite signaling its need for nourishment. You perceive yourself as anxious, but it is the organism releasing cortisol to diminish your defenses. you feel depressed, but it is their communication suppressing serotonin, slowing your faculties so they may persist within you. These organisms are not mere occupants, they are directors, and you, the host, are their puppet. Scientific inquiry has corroborated ancient wisdom. Parasites can indeed modify the behavior of their hosts. The toxoplasma parasite, for instance, can render a rat oblivious to the predatory cat that will ultimately consume it, guiding it directly toward its demise. The parasite triumphs, the host succumbs, the cycle perpetuates. In the human organism, this same principle manifests as self-destruction, addiction, distraction, and despondency. You are drawn to that which weakens you because an internal force benefits from your decline. However, it is here that biology converges once more with the metaphysical. For ages, mystics have spoken of unseen entities that subsist on human suffering, demons that draw vitality from anguish and fixation. When an individual is consumed by fury, lust, or apprehension, their energetic state shifts, their physical form constricts, their luminescence fades, and according to ancient texts, this is when they feast. Is it mere chance that both parasites and demons share analogous behavioral patterns, both thriving on disruption, both manipulating desires, both flourishing in environments of deterioration? Perhaps they are not distinct forces, but a unified entity expressed across divergent planes of existence. The biological parasite operates through the physical form. The demonic parasite operates through the psyche. The former consumes your physical sustenance, the latter consumes your willpower. Together, they form a complete, self-contained system. Flesh and spirit bound by the same voracious need. And when you succumb to what destroys you, both rejoice. The parasite expands, the demon glows, and you mistake exhaustion for pleasure. You term it solace, you call it liberation, but it is subjugation. A form of invisible servitude devised not by despots in high towers, but by ancient intelligences who grasp a fundamental truth. Control the host's desires, and you control the host's destiny. Thus, the question darkens as you reach for what you covet. Whose volition initiates the movement? When you contemplate, I desire this, whose perception speaks? Is it the human, the parasite, or something channeling through both? Remain with me. For to comprehend their true design, you must first grasp the phantoms behind the looking glass. The entities that subsist not only on your corporeal being, but on your very spirit. The ancients never compartmentalized biology from the spiritual. To them, the body was a portal, not a prison. Through its vulnerabilities, energies could ingress and egress, much like an open wound allows infection to seep in. Every thought, every emotion, every indulgence opens a gateway, and something invariably answers. They understood that physical impurity invites spiritual corruption. The parasite in the gut and the demon in the psyche are twin reflections in the same obsidian mirror. One is corporeal, the other is vibratory. Envision the human entity as a sanctuary of luminescence and interconnected pathways, a living conduit of energy. When harmony prevails, the current flows upward, awareness expands, and consciousness strengthens. But when discord takes hold through excess, fear, or animosity, the current falters, the vibration diminishes. And at this reduced resonance, the feeders appear. They are drawn to decay as scavengers to carrion, demons, parasites, whatever designation you assign. They are predators of vibrational energy. In the ancient desert scriptures, fasting was not a rite of penance, but of combat. These kinds, it was written, can only be expelled through abstention from sustenance. Why? Because fasting deprives both the biological and energetic invaders. The body purges, the mind clarifies, the spirit ascends in frequency, and the entities lose their hold. This is not superstition, it is the physics of the unseen. Modern science is only beginning to chart what the mystics intuitively grasped. The gut, they assert, is a secondary brain, harboring trillions of organisms that influence emotion, memory, and even decision-making. Yet the mystics would nod knowingly and remark, "We informed you so." They always understood that thought is permeable, that consciousness is not a stronghold, but an expanse. The parasites that alter hormones and cravings are merely the tangible shadows of subtler forces, the archons of appetite, the jinn of desire, the whisperers who shape societies through our digestive systems and our skin. Observe the world we inhabit. Every thoroughfare lined with inflammatory foods, beverages that dull the senses, screens that enthrall. This is not mere convenience. It is a deliberate construction, a global alimentary system where the human host willingly consumes its own chains. Every indulgence is a communion, every longing a minor act of surrender, and over time, the light of awareness dims until an individual forgets they were ever sovereign. Remain with me, for if the physical form can serve as an aperture for darkness, it can also serve as a vessel for illumination. But to unlock that higher gateway, one must first confront the infestation within, acknowledge it, perceive it, and commence the exorcism of both flesh and spirit. Every revelation begins with a dissenter, an individual who refuses to accept the world's narrative as definitive. For Wayne Rowland, that defiance commenced not in a monastic cell or a scientific laboratory, but within his own deteriorating body. He had exhausted every conventional remedy, ingested every pharmaceutical, adhered to every medical directive. Yet his affliction intensified. It was not merely sickness he experienced, but a form of subjugation. Something was preying upon him, unseen, unnamed. And so, in a moment of exhaustion and defiance, he issued a challenge to the world. $10,000 to anyone who could unveil the truth that medical science had concealed. Only one individual responded. He spoke not of chemical compounds or surgical interventions, but of energetic frequencies. He asserted the existence of 5 forgotten technologies capable of eradicating disease at its core. When Rowland inquired about the most potent among them, the man presented him with a blueprint, a device originally conceived by a reclusive inventor named Royal Raymond Rife, a machine that healed through sonic waves. It did not incise or cauterize. It resonated. Each malady, the inventor posited, vibrates at a distinct frequency. Match it precisely, and the organism disintegrates, much like a crystalline vessel shatters under a pure note. Rowland harbored skepticism. Yet, desperation has consistently been the catalyst for discovery. For 3 months, he sat by the apparatus as its subtle tones hummed through him, barely audible, like the echo of a melody recollected from a previous existence. Gradually, a transformation occurred. The discomfort subsided. The exhaustion dissipated. Even the arthritic condition that had deformed his hands began to recede. When his medical reports returned clear, he grasped something extraordinary. The frequencies that had restored him were not addressing his symptoms. They were annihilating parasites. He delved deeper. The lead contamination in his bloodstream, he discovered, had created an optimal environment for parasites to proliferate. Their byproducts had been poisoning him internally. When the frequencies disrupted their vibratory patterns, they perished, and his body revitalized. It was not the malady that vanished, but the unseen director behind it. However, the further he investigated, the more peculiar it became. He unearthed medical records from the 1800s, detailing physicians who routinely dewormed their patients with remarkable success. One Chicago physician, Dr. Chase, documented achieving an 80% cure rate for cancer solely through the removal of parasites. The evidence existed, buried beneath a century of pharmaceutical clamor. Humanity had once recognized the adversary and subsequently forgotten it. Rowland's revelation ignited a question far more profound than mere medicine. If parasites could exert such a potent influence on physical health, what else could they affect? Mood, cognition, conviction. Could it be that these microscopic entities were not simply organisms, but conduits, physical anchors for something more sinister that depended on them for survival? A biological foothold for a spiritual invasion. The frequencies that had healed him transcended mere science. They were a form of electrical exorcism. The tone was the blade, the vibration, the illumination. And through this resonance, Rowland stumbled upon the most ancient enigma, that the universe itself is composed of frequency, and every disharmony, whether physical, mental, or spiritual, is merely a distortion of the cosmic symphony. Remain with me, for if vibration can eradicate corporeal parasites, what tone could dismantle the parasites of the spirit? Before the advent of industrialization, before medicine became a commercial enterprise, healing bore a closer resemblance to alchemy. Physicians were not yet arbiters of profit. They were observers of nature's concealed principles. In the 1800s, these medical practitioners articulated a doctrine now branded as folklore, the principles of purification, fasting, and purging. They identified the enemy by name, parasites. The concept was elementary, yet profoundly impactful. To restore a person's health, one must first expel the invader. Historical accounts whisper tales of this forgotten sagacity. In Chicago, Dr. Chase recorded a remarkable statistic that modern medicine continues to disregard: an 80% success rate in treating cancer through deworming alone. No radiation, no chemotherapy, no proprietary poisons, only the elimination of what was feeding on the host. Across Europe and North America, the same pattern emerged. Wormwood, black walnut, and clove were standard therapeutic agents. Every medical facility maintained deworming wards. Physicians understood that nearly every chronic ailment originated from internal corruption, a parasitic imbalance. But then arrived the era of synthetic compounds. The gentle herbalist was supplanted by the individual wielding a syringe, and the struggle against illness transformed into a marketplace. This transition was not incidental. As germ theory gained prominence, the parasitic model was obscured by the cacophony of pharmaceuticals. Labeling a disease as infectious was lucrative. Labeling it as infested was not. The parasite was expunged from academic texts, its depiction reduced to a trifling inconvenience for the impoverished. But the body never forgot. The infestation persisted, concealed beneath clinical terminology and insurance codes. Why did this knowledge disappear? Perhaps because parasites could not be patented. You cannot market what nature freely provides. You cannot assign a monetary value to garlic or abstention from food. You cannot bill the spirit for tranquility. The remedy was too unpretentious, too ancient, too unprofitable. Hence, it was ridiculed, eradicated, and entombed beneath the triumphal banners of progress. And humanity, believing itself healed, unknowingly returned to its former role as hosts, but this time to systems of commerce and consumption that mirrored the very parasites they disregarded. The elder physicians cautioned that a parasite does not always present as a worm. It can manifest as an idea, a conviction that an external force is requisite for salvation, a faith that the established order will restore you while profiting from your labor, your apprehension, your acquiescence. The metaphor became literal, and the literal devolved into myth. But what if that suppressed knowledge was not lost, merely concealed? What if the very vibratory principles that Rife rediscovered constituted the missing link between ancient healing practices and contemporary metaphysics? Frequency, fasting, botanical remedies. These are not archaic rituals. They are the forgotten dialects of the body's innate intelligence. The ancients comprehended that purifying the body purifies the spirit, and that illness is not retribution, but subjugation. When you eliminate that which sustains itself from you, something awakens, a clarity, a profound desire for truth. It is as if the noise ceases and the original signal, your consciousness, returns to its full intensity. Remain with me. For what perished in those forgotten infirmaries was not merely a medical practice, but a worldview, a perspective that regarded the human being as sacred architecture, not as disposable material. And those who buried it did not simply erase medical knowledge, they erased memory itself. Every parasite, whether biological or spiritual, requires a single element for survival, a host that remains unaware of its exploitation. This is the secret of control, ignorance, and what transpires within a single human body, amplified across billions of bodies, becomes civilization itself. You perceive yourself as inhabiting a society of choice, but observe more closely. This world is a meticulously crafted ecosystem designed to nourish its concealed feeders. Every advertisement that entices you, every aroma wafting from a fast food establishment, every screen that flashes with artificial light, it is all bait. The very structure of your reality has been engineered to maintain you at a vibratory frequency of craving, sugar, salt, dopamine, sex, indignation. These are not indulgences, they are currencies. Every reaction you experience nourishes something that lacks a discernible visage. The parasite no longer resides solely in your digestive tract. It permeates the very infrastructure of your cities, the algorithms that track your desires, the industries that profit from your unconscious compliance. It commenced subtly. Food stripped of its essential nutrients, replaced with addictive chemical compounds, water laced with metallic elements that impair cognitive function, air laden with imperceptible toxins that compromise the immune system. The body becomes sluggish, the mind grows clouded, the will dissipates. And in this state of weakness, both the parasite and the opportunist flourish. The corporations that peddle toxicity and the organisms that feed on it are partners in the same ritual. You consume, they grow, you decay, they profit. The parasite devours the body, and the system devours the soul. It is no mere coincidence that the symbols of commerce and consumption echo the symbols of subjugation. Observe the serpent coiled around the staff of medicine. The caduceus, they call it a healer's emblem, but ancient mystery schools understood it differently, as the twin serpents of energy entwining the human spine, feeding upon imbalance. This same archetype now governs your economy. The marketplace thrives on fear, instability, and avarice, the very emotions demons have perpetually favored. Is it coincidence or a revelation? When individuals attain optimal health, when they awaken, the system begins to starve. It must keep you oscillating between craving and guilt, hunger and sedation. Note how each cycle of indulgence is followed by a wave of self-reproach. That emotional release is not arbitrary, it is energy extraction. The parasite claims the sugar, the demon claims the shame. The corporations collect the revenue. The system collects obedience. It is a perfect trinity of consumption. Yet, beneath this intricate mechanism, something sacred endures. The human soul was not designed for cultivation. It was crafted for freedom. This is why every act of awareness, every conscious breath, every refusal to yield to compulsion is an act of rebellion on both biological and metaphysical levels. When you reject the artificial impulse, you deprive the system of its harvest. You starve the parasite. Remain with me. For to dismantle the external architecture of control, you must first dismantle its internal counterpart, the parasite within. Society is merely the manifestation of your collective infestation. Heal the host, and the world transforms. But the conflict commences not with protest, nor with outrage, but with purification. The arena of conflict is not the city, it is your bloodstream. Every liberation begins with a singular action, perceiving that which has always been present. The parasite's primary power lies in its invisibility. It exists in silence, sustained by your unawareness, reinforced by your conviction that you are in command. Therefore, before the purification, before the fasting, before the ritual of rejuvenation, comes the awakening of sight. Awareness is the precise instrument that severs the unseen. Begin with a simple inquiry. What compels my actions at this precise moment? When you yearn for sweetness, when you seek diversion, when you succumb to anxiety, pause. Observe the urge as if it were an alien whisper traversing your nerves. That pause is paramount, for in that instant of observation, the parasite is exposed. It cannot endure the scrutiny of consciousness. Awareness possesses a potency far exceeding any medical intervention. It starves the invader by refusing to feed the compulsion. Look deeper. The human nervous system is a grand broadcast antenna, attuned to the frequencies of emotion and thought. What you identify as you is often a composite of transmissions. Some originate from your soul, while others are broadcast by the organisms and energies residing within you. The gut, the heart, the brain. They are not disparate entities, but instruments in a singular composition. Yet, somewhere along the way, the conductor fell asleep, and the instruments began to play autonomously. That discord became your personality. The ancients understood this. The Egyptians inscribed it in stone. The Buddhists encoded it in meditative practices. Jung termed it the shadow. The darkness within is not inherently malevolent. It is the unseen machinery of influence. To perceive it without judgment is to reclaim command. Awareness transforms what it illuminates. When you confront the craving, the fear, the repetitive behavioral patterns directly, you interrupt the programmed sequence. The signal weakens. The host remembers its inherent sovereignty. Modern science refers to this as neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity for self-modification through observation and intention. Seekers of enlightenment refer to it as liberation, yet both descriptions point to the same wonder. When the observer awakens, the parasitic influence withers. The infestation loses its power to dictate your actions without your authorization. Therefore, the initial action isn't resistance. It's perception. Settle into quietude. Observe the mental landscape without sustaining it. Experience the longing arise and dissipate like a receding wave. Refuse to comply with it. The parasite is persistent, but it cannot withstand your persistent consciousness indefinitely. Your struggle isn't against your inherent nature. You are reclaiming your inherent dominion. As you begin to discern the framework of manipulation, you will recognize its presence everywhere. It appears in promotions that mimic desire, in political cycles that resemble compulsion, in interpersonal dynamics that reflect codependent reliance. Consciousness serves as the antidote to enchantment. Once the pattern is perceived, it cannot be ignored. Remain with me, for mere awareness is insufficient. Witnessing the confines does not liberate the occupant. The subsequent phase is purification, the hallowed practice of cleansing where you begin to dismantle the intruder's dominion, part by part, moment by moment. Awareness unlocks the passage. Cleansing guides you through it. Awareness revives the mind, while cleansing reclaims the sanctuary. The parasite is not figurative. It possesses a tangible presence, a biological reality, a subtle movement beneath the surface of your skin. To confront it, you must engage it where it resides, within your bloodstream, your digestive system, the very organs it inhabits. Purging is not a matter of superficial appearance. It is active defiance at a fundamental level. As you commence the cleansing process, the body may tremble, for the internal dominion senses the threat. Every ancient civilization that revered the body as sacred embraced purification rituals. The Essenes observed periods of silent fasting preceding prayer. The Egyptians utilized black cumin and garlic as protective remedies. Indigenous healers consumed intensely bitter concoctions to expel what they termed intruders of the light. While modern science may dismiss their methods, the outcomes were concrete. Parasites eradicated, dependencies dissolved, spirits uplifted. Though the specific practices may differ today, their underlying objective remains unchanged: to expel that which sustains itself from you. Commence with the arena of appetite. Sugary substances, refined carbohydrates, and alcoholic beverages are not mere indulgences. They are lifelines for the invading entity. Each indulgence represents an accord sealed in surrender. Withdraw your compliance, sever the connection. When you experience trembling, exhaustion, or irritability, recognize these not as weaknesses, but as withdrawal symptoms. The parasite cries out when deprived of sustenance. Disregard it. That discomfort is not intrinsically yours. It is the sound of bondage breaking. Nature has already equipped you for this conflict. Wormwood, black walnut hulls, cloves. These are ancient defenses concealed within herbs. They do not harm you. They target the parasite. As they perish, you may experience residual effects manifesting as headaches, emotional fluctuations, or sudden pangs of despair. These are not indicators of failure, but evidence of an expulsion. The old order departs with upheaval. Persevere through it. The tranquility that follows signifies liberation. Fasting enhances the purification process. By abstaining from food, you deny the invader energy. Yet, a more subtle effect also occurs. The parasite's voice, once overwhelming, fades into background noise. The hunger that persists is not physiological, it is spiritual. Beneath it, a profound quietude emerges, revealing the unadorned essence of your original self. This is why spiritual leaders have historically fasted before significant revelations. The absence of physical sustenance opens pathways to the spiritual realm. Hydration becomes a sacred element in this transformation. Pure water, unrefined salt, and lemon juice constitute simple alchemy, facilitating the expulsion of the dying invader's remnants from your system. Support your liver, kidneys, and digestive tract, for these organs act as your purification agents. As impurities are eliminated, the body begins to resonate harmoniously once more, returning to its inherent rhythm. You will experience a sense of lightness, clarity, and release from an invisible burden. Desires diminish, replaced by discernment. You will no longer crave that which is detrimental to you. This is not a matter of self-control, but of self-possession. understand that this process transcends superficial improvement. It is a profound inner recalibration. The parasite perishes within the physical form, but a deeply ingrained belief system also disintegrates within the mind, the conviction of your own powerlessness. Cleansing is a rite of passage. The discomfort experienced serves as the crucible that tempers the strength of your resolve. Remain with me, for the physical purging paves the way for a further transformation, the detoxification of the mind and spirit. Once the physical form is liberated, the true conflict commences, the purification of thought itself. As the body undergoes cleansing, the focal point of the struggle shifts. The parasite retreats from the digestive system and seeks refuge within the mind. Its biological influence transforms into emotional states, its decay manifesting as thought patterns. It is here that many mistakenly believe the purification is complete. However, the more insidious infestation has only just begun to surface. An unguarded mind becomes fertile ground for unseen influences. Fear, guilt, obsessions, and envy are not mere moods. They are sustenance sources. To detoxify the mind is to regain control of your central command. This process begins in silence, for silence is the one resonance that parasites cannot replicate. Every impulse that arises during meditation, an itch, a recalled memory, an urge to shift position, represents an internal echo of resistance. Endure it, observe it without judgment. The parasite thrives on reactivity. By refusing to react, you sever its lifeline. Your thoughts are not truly yours until you consciously choose them. Many are inherited influences, broadcast by society, amplified by past traumas, and subtly introduced by unseen forces that long ago deciphered your emotional triggers. They infiltrate your consciousness, masquerading as internal dialogue. Phrases like, "I can't," "I need," and "I'm afraid" are linguistic infections. Therefore, commence your mental detoxification by purifying your speech. Replace complaints with gratitude, reactions with contemplation, and aimless chatter with deliberate intention. The energetic signature of your words reconfigures the landscape of your mind. Parasites cannot flourish in harmony. Sensory fasting is another crucial element. Limit your visual, auditory, and mental consumption. The ceaseless influx of chaotic information, news cycles, gossip, and endless scrolling act as psychic stimulants, feeding the entities that thrive on distraction. The more your attention is diverted outward, the more diminished your inner domain becomes. Redirect it inward. Attention is the nourishment for the soul. Direct it towards what strengthens you, not what depletes you. Then comes breath, the crucial link between the physical and spiritual. Regulated breathing purifies the nervous system, much like water smoothing stone. Inhale awareness, exhale subjugation. With each breath, you reaffirm your authority over your physical vessel. Breathing exercises, prayer, and incantations are not merely acts of faith, but mechanisms for neurological recalibration. They retune the energetic frequency of your being. Emotional detoxification is often the most challenging. It is here that you confront that which parasites cherish most, your unhealed traumas. They subsist on your past experiences. Every instance of resentment, every fear, every memory of betrayal creates an open vulnerability through which they draw sustenance. To close these openings, you must practice forgiveness, not as a moral obligation, but as a form of energetic hygiene. Forgiveness is the cleansing agent for the soul. Through forgiveness, you drain the breeding ground for negativity. As the internal chaos subsides, a profound clarity emerges, not necessarily euphoria, but a state of equilibrium, the stillness of a tranquil lake after a storm. You begin to perceive a subtle resonance beneath your thoughts, the original signal, the quiet hum of consciousness itself. This is a frequency that cannot be mimicked. When you abide in this state, you become invulnerable. Remain with me, for detoxification is not the conclusion, but preparation. Once the mind is purified and the spirit stabilized, you must construct what the old world neglected, your sanctuary. To maintain your autonomy, you must reinforce your defenses so that no parasitic influence, be it physical or spiritual, can re-establish a foothold. Cleansing purifies the battlefield, but fortification secures the victory. Once the intruders have been expelled, the physical form is left vulnerable, like a field after a tempest, fertile with potential, but susceptible to the resurgence of familiar weeds. Strength must be rebuilt, not as mere physical mass, but as energetic resonance. You are not simply recovering. You are undergoing a fundamental transformation. The organism that emerges from this process is distinct from the one that initiated it. The initial layer of defense resides in the gut, the core of your immune system. Nourish it with vitality, not indulgence. Probiotics, fermented foods, minerals sourced from the earth, and water from pristine springs are essential. Every cell you fortify with integrity becomes a bulwark of light. Parasites cannot thrive in an environment imbued with vitality. They require decay. You are now transforming into a consecrated ground. Movement becomes your subsequent remedy. The body must flow like water to remain alert. Exercise is not a pursuit of vanity. It is the channeling of energy. It promotes circulation, preventing stagnation. Stillness breeds vulnerability. Motion restores vital current. As blood circulates, so too does awareness. Sweat acts as a conduit through which residual toxins find their exit. Each breath during physical exertion is a declaration: I am alive, and I am sovereign over this vessel. Then there is rest, the most underestimated weapon. True sleep is a form of divine restoration, a nightly calibration of your energetic being. However, deep sleep is increasingly rare. Screens, noise, and anxieties disrupt the dream cycle, leaving the psyche susceptible to intrusion. Cultivate a sacred approach to sleep: darkness, silence, and intentionality. Treat it as a ritual, not a mere habit. As you sleep, your spirit mends the breaches that parasites once exploited. Now arrives transmutation, the alchemy that transcends mere cleansing. To transmute is to convert what once caused harm into strength. Pain transforms into wisdom. Craving evolves into discernment. Every integrated shadow becomes reclaimed light. You no longer flee from the parasite. You study its methods, extract its teachings, and transform them into spiritual resilience. The poison becomes the instructor. The wound becomes the gateway. In this phase, gratitude functions as protective armor. Each morning, you awaken with an appreciation for the miracle of breath, the power of choice, and the clarity of genuine hunger. Gratitude elevates the energetic frequency of your entire being. Entities that subsist on despair cannot endure in an atmosphere of appreciation. Joy, contrary to popular belief, is not mere comfort. It is a defense mechanism. As your system reconstructs itself, the influence of the external world gradually diminishes. You cease to resonate with toxicity. You pass by temptations without a second thought. Advertisements lose their allure. Cravings no longer hold sway. You begin to perceive the world for what it truly is, a vast ecosystem of energies, each vying for your attention. But you, the awakened host, are now the one who directs that attention. Remain with me, for one final revelation awaits. the ultimate threshold where liberation and illusion converge. Once you have cleansed, fortified, and transmuted, you must confront the singular question that matters, the one echoing through every cell, every thought, every dream. Who is truly in command? And now, silence. The conflict has concluded. The cacophony that once filled your body, the cravings, the impulses, the whispers, has vanished. What remains is something that most individuals never encounter in their lifetime, the resonance of their own soul. You have recognized what sustained itself from you and have reclaimed what was taken. The parasitic influences, both physical and spiritual, hold no power without your agreement. You are not a vessel for their voracious appetites. You are the consciousness that observes their depletion. The same energy that once responded to their demands now answers only to truth. Therefore, ask yourself not as an intellectual exercise, but as a recovered memory. Who is in command? The prevailing system will attempt to induce forgetfulness. The cravings will strive to resurface. But the distinction now lies in your perception. You can foresee the action before it touches you. You can detect the whisper before it enters your consciousness. You are no longer a host. You are a sovereign domain of awareness. Remember this: the most profound exorcism is remembrance, knowing that you are the soul, not the hunger. When you remember, darkness recedes. When you remember, parasites lose their purpose. When you remember, the conflict concludes not with a victory, but with an awakening. So, breathe. Re-engage with your physical form. Return to your life, and never again pose the question, who is in control? Because now, you know.